Okay, welcome to our Heritage Maker Timeout for Women prep call. Um, I apologize. This is last year's PowerPoint, so I didn't get to change the screen, the background. I would have had something more Heritage Makerish, but it's what I have to work with today. So let's go ahead and get started. And this call is being recorded so that you'll have access to it later on and can go back and listen to it. So let's go through the PowerPoint, and if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. I actually don't remember if we gave you a line where you can talk on it or not, but we'll open it up as we go through. Okay, so congratulations. Thank you for signing up for the Timeout for Women events. It's a great opportunity to get in front of a group of people that have a like-minded philosophy as heritage makers about preserving families, bringing families together with photos and gifts and stories and genealogy and things like that. Their theme this year, this is our third year with Time Out for Women as a main sponsor, and I'll explain what that gets us in just a minute. But this is our third year with, and their theme is higher. It's a weekend experience that will help you to think higher, believe higher, live higher. And then I've got on the screen the different locations that we are this fall. The spring events have already happened, so you've signed up for one of the fall events to be on this call. We also have a few open spots that's posted on the Leadership Facebook group, so if you're interested in seeing what else is available, you can check there or check with your leader. So as I mentioned, this is it's a woman-based event. There's very few men there. And it's a Friday evening, and then, let me go to the schedule page. It's a Friday evening, and then an all-day Saturday event. So it goes, you'll have setup in the morning on Friday, and then the doors open at 6, and the event actually begins at 6:30. You don't get a lot of traffic between 6 and 6:30. I guess it depends on the event, but you know what convention's like. When the doors open, everybody races in to get to their seats and save the best seats and save a group, and then they're visiting with friends and all excited and stuff. So there's not a lot of people that come back to the booth at 6 unless somebody else is saving their seat for them. Then they'll come back and visit. But we do during the break, so they come back. There's a 20-minute break. They're really good about that, having the big blocks of breaks. And then the show ends at 9:30. Again, depending on the location, the ones that I have been to, and it's been over a year since I've been, there's generally not a lot of people that hang out on the Friday event. Most of the talking and such will happen on Saturday, and it's like this feeding frenzy. It's like, they're in session, and all of a sudden they're out, and boom, your booth is just packed. And so that's exciting. But you will have some, and that's great because it gives you the opportunity to give them information ahead of time, and then, when they come back Saturday, really have an opportunity to talk to them then. So that's the schedule for Friday, and then Saturday, same thing, show begins, meaning you need to, I didn't put it on here, but you need to arrive a half hour early so that you're at the booth before, the doors actually open at 8:30, so you need to be there probably about 8:15, and you'll get an agenda before your event. Doors open at 9 o'clock, so you need to be in the booth because they will have some time between 8:30 and 9 to come to your booth and visit. And they're more, again, they race in really quick to get their seats, and then, some people will come back at that point. Then you have a break, and then you have a long lunch, and then you have another break towards the end, and then the show ends. And I found also that at the end of the show, you don't get a lot of crowd, but you'll get some that will come back and kind of final up and ask some questions. So that is the agenda. We're going to go over some of these, some of this information in detail. Each of them, when they come on Friday, they just get a sheet of paper that kind of gives them the agenda for the night. And what they do at these events, if you haven't been to one, is they're pretty much just motivational speakers and musical. They have some musical groups that come, and so it's really about building up women and helping them in different areas of their life. It's just an empowering event. As the event says, it's to help them reach higher. In most of the events locations, your booth will actually be in where the conference is being held, which is nice because then when they're in conference, you can listen or, whatever. You're at the back of the room. You can't do a lot of talking because you're in the event, and you have to be careful to not just be disruptive. We've gotten scolded a couple times because people come back, the mothers that need to take their their children to the back of the room will come by and want something to look at. So we start chatting, and sometimes if we're too close to the audience, then you just need to be respectful of that group, so because they're there to listen, and we just be respectful there. Some of our events, the booth is actually outside of the main area, and it's in either a concession area or it's an area where they're all together. Now, they don't have a lot of vendors there. We generally will have 3 this year. Generally, there's been 2, and sometimes pick up a third one. But they have 3 and possibly a 4th one, and then they have Deseret Book, which is the company that's actually sponsoring this. Will have books and some types of little display things that they sell at the event. So the speakers have the opportunity to sell their CDs or their books or things like that at the event. Deseret Book is the biggest vendor there because it is their event. So they always get prime spot there. But we get plenty of people coming to the booth that are really excited to hear about what we have. And it's nice because the last 2 years the booth has been kind of the same, and this year the booth is completely different, which I have a picture, so I'll show you that in just a minute. So Friday they just get an agenda, as I mentioned, and Saturday when they come in, they get their bag, which they absolutely love to have their bag, and then they get a brochure, a booklet. And in the booklet, it talks about the speakers, and it has some different information items from them. And then we take out a full-page ad. So when they open up, this is actually 2 spreads that you see there. And this is our ad that you'll see there. And there's a couple things to notice. One, we talk about club over here. We talk about the things that we do. Now, this I failed to mention this at the beginning. This event is put on Deseret Book, while it is not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it is geared towards that specific religion. And so those topics, the speakers and such, will be geared towards that. What we've done this year that is different is we've really customized the display to be specific to things that will appeal to them. So you'll see in this picture down at the bottom, picture of a wedding book and a temple in it, missionaries, sending missionaries out and doing events. Now, of course, you know that all of these templates can be changed for any religion or any occasion, but we have selected projects that will pique their interest to help you with that. One that's not on here that is one of the most popular items is the proclamation to the family. And it's a canvas, and it's a big canvas. We have one there for display, and Brindy will be sending, if you don't already have it, let us know, and we'll send you that template. It's actually a template that we cannot put as a company in the template gallery. However, you can share it upon request with your people because it's coming from you. But as a company, we can't launch that. So you'll want to have it because it's one that draws a lot of attention, especially to our fall events. Because remember, in the fall, they're already starting to think, September, they're starting to think about Christmas and giving gifts, and it's a great gift, and it's a great way to lead them into club because it's a higher point item. They can get that now. If they get on Gold Club at this point, they could give that out to their mother and their father, or however many families that they need to have. So great opportunity there. So a couple other things in there. We mentioned that target things that will appeal to the group that we're marketing to. The other one is this QR code, which is great because that will lead to a link that we will be customizing. I know that they're working on it in marketing now. It's still the spring one. But it links to different, again, keepsakes that would appeal to this group. And so that's a great thing. The other thing, I'll go ahead and mention it right now, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, that we're going to link to is longevity. So I'll have an opportunity to hear about longevity and click on another link that will take them to more information about there, because they're not going to allow us to display the longevity products at this event. And I am going to cover that in just a minute, how we're going to get around that or massage that. So, okay, let's talk about what to bring. Heritage Makers provides the display, the contact cards for you, the pop-up banners, the drawing box, the giveaways. We're required to give away 2 items. We give away a canvas and a 12 by 12. We actually just give them the points, both of them, for the canvas, but they want a tangible item that they can announce. So we provide those. The tablecloths, we have 4 aprons in there. You guys are welcome to do something else if you want. I suggest that you look the same. So if you don't want to do aprons, make sure you all have something the saying so that they know who the workers are. They know that the people that are working the booth are, and that's what you need to have to stand out. Because really, when it's break time, it's like, again, they just kind of attack the booth, and you got to be ready to go. We do the data entry for your leads. That's optional, and I'll explain that more in just a minute. And it comes with 2 lunches. This year we decided to not purchase the other lunches because we just passed that on. This isn't a money-making event for us at Heritage Makers. The only reason we are involved in this and not other events is because we have to do it on a corporate level to get the pricing for the ad. And we get bulk pricing because we sign up for all events. So we don't make money, and we try not to lose money on it. And because they charge us $25 for the lunches, again, that was money we just put back in to you guys. And what I've heard from people attending is, look, we don't even get a chance to eat lunch. So they bring it to you right before the lunch session. Usually it's a pretty big sandwich. You guys can split it, or they have a concession area. You can go pick up 2 other lunches for probably $5 instead of me charging you $25. So that was a decision that we made. Heritage Makers also, Brindy should have shared. I thought she said she already did, but maybe she hasn't shared with you a folder, a Timeout for Women folder that has all of the information about setting up the booth. There's a QR code so you can actually watch setting up the booth, how to set it up, where the display goes, all kinds of things like that are in there. The information about the lock, of how to unlock it. So my suggestion is you watch the video, or you open the folder before you actually go to Timeout for Women so that you know how to unlock the box in case you can't get a hold of us on Friday. We've had a number of calls saying, hey, I can't get in, I don't have a code. It's in the document, so make sure that that's in there. One thing while I'm talking about the display, please, please, please treat the display with respect. It has to last the rest of the season. There's nothing worse than it doesn't come back to us, so we don't get to check it each time between. So if you pack it carelessly or something breaks and you don't let us know, we can't fix it. And then the next group that also paid for their event, they go to set up their event and something's broken. So when the last one of the boxes came back to us this time, there was absolutely no tablecloths in there. All the tablecloths are gone, and one of the main display pieces are gone. So it's like one box kind of forgot to be put in there. If that went to another event after, after it was forgotten, they're without. And so it is so important that you make sure everything's packed correctly so that the corners aren't dinged, so that it's presentable for the next group that's coming in, and also so that Heritage Makers doesn't have to replace it. This is part that we don't add into your cost, and so it's an investment on our part. So please, please make sure that it's packed correctly. And if there's anything wrong when you get it, when you open it up, you need to let Brindy know that there was something wrong so that you're not responsible for it, because the next person is probably going to report it, and we're going to come back to you and say, hey, we didn't hear that there was a problem there. So I'm getting some messages that you didn't get the folder. We'll make sure that you have it. I think it actually only went out to the main person. Can you type in if you did receive that folder? Brindy's now on her pre-wedding days off, and so this has come to me to manage while she's off for the next week and a half. But if you did get that link to that Google folder, please let me know. And if nobody types in, then I'll know that I need to get that out to you. Okay, as consultants, you are going to provide your own personal projects or display accessories. We don't pack, and you don't have to have, when I show you the picture, you'll see that it's nice and bright, and of course our products bring so much to look at, and it's appealing. But I know that some consultants like to bring greenery or things like that to add and make it a little more homey and a more decor. That is completely up to you. There's nothing in there like that. Having your own personal projects is helpful because you can say, this is my family, or I made this, or this is the story about this, something that you really can refer to. The other thing bringing your personal projects does is, as I mentioned, we've customized the products, the display, to be geared around LDS-specific projects. So by you bringing your own personal things, it adds some variety to the mix, okay? You also need to bring out any materials that you want to hand out. And I'm going to talk about a flyer that's available. But I know that in the past, our groups will get together. They'll do opportunity packets, and it's just a big cellophane packet that you put in an opportunity flyer, an idea book, a letter from you, like a welcome letter that you can put in. It has information in club in there. We used to put the club flyer in there. So things like that that you want them to have when they're thinking about the business opportunity. And again, we'll touch on that as I get to the longevity part. Well, I'll just touch on it now. You have, because it's a packet and it's closed and you're handing it to somebody, you have the ability to put in a flyer on the longevity material or put in the mineral makeup brochure or anything you want. I've had questions, can I put in the root beer bellies as a sample? Because I know some consultants like to put in chocolate in their packets so that they, there's a treat in there. So, yeah, you are welcome to do that. Those are packets that they take. I would suggest in your welcome letter that you type up explaining why it's in there. So they see heritage makers, and you all of a sudden giving them nutritionals or, mineral makeup or whatever, something different. Explain there, hey, we just had the most amazing merger, and we're excited about this. It happened pre this event. After this event was already contracted, so we weren't able to display these products. But I'd love to share them with you. Please contact me, if you're interested. So that's one way we're going to get our new product line in, if you choose to. Club packets, I don't know if everybody's still doing those. You have a team leader that will kind of work with the group, and so that you're all doing the same thing. On those opportunity packets, what we've done in the past is everybody picks a different color to tie it with a ribbon or tape or whatever, so that if somebody comes back with that, who they talk to. So if I use purple, because that's my favorite color, then somebody with my packet comes back and they're talking to Hallie Red. Hallie says, oh, you've been talking to Patty. She's right over here. Go ahead and meet with her. Because remember, these people don't know that you don't just work together. They don't know that you're on commission or you're business owners on your own. They just think you're part of Heritage Makers. They just don't know. So they're not consultant. There's no allegiance to the person that they talk to. That's your role. You have to establish that. And even as you're handing them material, make sure your name's on it. And if you talk to somebody as you're taking one of the information cards, let them know that you would love to work with them personally. If they have any questions, come back and ask for Patty. Okay, here's my name. Circle it. So build that rapport with them. Okay. You're responsible for your own transportation, food, and any other expenses that come with getting to and from the event. You're also responsible for being there in time to set up and staying to take down. In the past, we've had some consultants that say, hey, I got a flight out at 4 o'clock. The show ends at 3:30, so I'm going to sneak out about 2:30. Part of your booth fee is setting that up. I mean, that's only fair that all 4 of you are there. So please plan accordingly. It usually takes about an hour and a half to pack up, so don't plan on leaving before 6 o'clock unless you guys have gotten it down and you're really, really fast. Okay, what makes a successful event? This is our 3rd year as a vendor. They limit the number of vendors that they have there, so there's not many places for them to go during break. They go to the restroom, they go to Deseret Book, and they go to the vendors right there, so that's why you get so many at one time. Another thing that's not on there is in that booklet that they get on Saturday is a drawing card from the booklet that enters them into that drawing. And now I just probably confused you. This is on the next page. So I'm going to talk about, hold that thought. I'm going to talk about this on the next page. A large number of attendees. You have lunch, meeting, trainings, which we're also going to talk about, so I won't go into now. This is a very targeted market group that you're meeting with. They're focused on family genealogy, and they're very generally crafty and willing to build things, scrapbook and storybook. They know how to do that, and so it's just something they like to do. So it's a great market for you to be part of. What really makes it successful is lots of talking and great follow-up. I need to stress this again. Great follow-up, and it is so important that you do that follow-up. You're investing a lot of money here. You can only talk so fast, and you're going to get all of these leads. You're going to get some personal leads that we'll talk about in just a minute, but we're going to give you some of the leads from that drawing box as well. There's lots of follow-up to do. I know just working with Nicole Plaster, when she does it, She is on those calls constantly, 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 and she doesn't give up. Especially, when they don't answer, she calls them back and lets them know, I'll call you back, da da da, and then I'll call you back. So if if you're not interested, then please give me a call and let me know. So she's really, really diligent about follow-up, and I know that that is the hardest part about events, isn't it? Nobody likes that rejection. Nobody likes when we think of not picking up the phone as rejection, or I always get the answer machine. They're just avoiding my call. That's not rejection. They're just busy. And they may be avoiding your call. That actually may be true. And it's nothing personal against you. But don't give up until they ask you. That's what Hallie Rudd says. Don't give up until they say, I'm not interested right now. Great. You know somebody who is. So again, be prepared for that, because that's where you will reap the fruits of this event and the benefit. If you walk away with, some sign-ups and some clubs at the event, that is great. The real rewards come after, and they take a lot of work, so be prepared for that, okay? All right, let's talk about those referrals and clients. Each consultant will have personal contact cards to give out to those that they personally talk to. So be sure to keep these cards. So this card here, we are sending them in packets. So you'll have some in your apron pouch that you can hand out. You can either put your name on it, or they're going to you anyway, so it doesn't matter. As you talk to somebody, you're going to hand them one. Here, go ahead and fill this out, and I will get you some information. Now, when I personally have done this in the past, I will be there, and of course I'm watching them as they fill it out, and I'm kind of asking a few questions. You have kids, you have grandma, those kinds of things, so I can get, familiar with it. What kind of projects are you interested in? It helps me to be able to take the card and make notes on the back so that I have something to refer her, back to her for, something that will trigger my memory. The other thing that I'm watching for is, what did she check? If she checked that she's interested in a home-based business, I'm going to be all over that right then. She's not leaving until I give her an opportunity packet. Now remember, those opportunity packets, the funner you make them, the more they want them without knowing exactly what's inside. So you can think, great, I'm going to hand all these out, and I handed out 25, 30 of these opportunity packets, and then when you make these calls, they didn't even know what was in it. So let them know what's in the opportunity packet as what it is. This is information about starting a business just like I do. It's so much fun. Are you interested in looking at this? We're looking for people in this area. That's why we're here. Okay, so that's the contact card. So there's 2 contact cards. One that you have in your personal pocket, that as you personally talk to people. Now remember, I talked about big groups of people coming up at one time. It's not really appropriate for you to be talking to 1 or 4, because they'll come up in groups. They're attending as families or neighborhoods, or we call them wards. It's a group that meets together for a service. So they're used to being together, and they come because they give a discount by coming in groups. So they'll come up to the booth in groups. Hand out a drawing slip to all of those, an information card, a contact card to all of those people that you're talking to. If there's people behind you that you're not talking to, don't just turn around and hand out those, because as soon as somebody else is available, they'll want to go meet them, and then you have the problem of getting 2 contact cards with 2 names on, 2 different people, which will happen anyway, I promise, but do your best to kind of keep them straight. Now, the other contact card is the one that they receive in their booklet in Saturday. That is the card that goes in the drawing box. Your personal cards go back in your apron, and you can let them know this doesn't go in the drawing. So make sure you fill out that drawing slip in your book, okay? And then have them put it in the drawing box. We divide up those leads after, and I'll explain how that's done in just a few minutes. Now, one other thing about the drawing slips, they do the drawing after lunch, after the last break. So there's like this big rush of people to come in and put in their drawing slips really fast as they enter in the drawing. It's not okay for you to take the cards as you're getting them and kind of write your name on it and then stick them in the box so that you get those leads. Okay, those get divided up equally. However, it is okay is if somebody comes up and you're talking with them and they have their drawing slip in their hand and you've given them one of your contact cards and you've already had your name on it, because we're going to merge these together and we're going to try and filter out the very best we can so that we match up the drawing slips with the contact cards, the information that you give us. So if you're talking to somebody, they filled out a contact card, and you see they have a drawing slip, here, let me go ahead and take that for you, and then you can put your initials on it. But you should only do that if you have talked to them and made that contact with them, okay? That just kind of keeps it fair. You'll notice on here that we have a place on here that I already have a Heritage Makers account. So let's talk about that. You'll have people that come up to the booth. Well, two things. You'll have them come up and, oh yeah, I've seen Heritage Makers. Don't let them just walk away. Do you have an account? Have you worked with Heritage Makers? No, because sometimes they'll use that as an excuse of, oh, just don't pressure me. No, I've heard of Heritage Makers. Thanks. Try and pique their interest. Give them something to be interested about, because last time they saw us, they weren't interested. So find out what they're. See, don't take that as, okay, thanks, goodbye. That's a lead walking away. They came back to the booth, obviously, to see us. So they're intrigued about something. So spend a little time and trying to find out what they're interested about. The other thing is that if they already have an account, there is a level of respect there. So make sure that you are sending them back to their consultant. Oh, who's your consultant? Oh, it's Wendy Meeke. Oh, she is great. I love Wendy. She'll take great care of you. Do you have any questions? No, great. Thank you. Sometimes you'll get this, though. They'll say, oh, who's your consultant? I don't know. She's never contacted me, but I know I have an account. Oh, do you get any emails? Do you get a newsletter from her? No, I don't. Well, would you be interested? At that point, if they're not getting newsletters, they're not getting contacts, they don't know who their person is, then sign them up, because their consultant's not doing a good job at contacting them. Do everything you can to drive them back to the consultant, because you'd want other consultants to do that for you. But if there's not, and there's just not a lot, because in the beginning we would go up and we would assign all these people accounts. So they'd get accounts and they didn't even know the consultant. So they were never sold. They'll never be a customer of ours until you build that personal relationship with them. It's just kind of the way sales work. They say, oh, I have an account. Are you using the account? Who's your consultant? So remember, even if they say, I have an account, go a little deeper, because they could just have been assigned an account and actually never gotten in. So sell them on it and work with them, and then they are your client because you've built that relationship, okay? So just try to kind of honor that relationship. Okay, we created this, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, wait, you got to give them a contact card, now you got to give them this. I don't know if you want to use this or not. We created this little flyer. We used to do the lunch meeting was in a separate room. Towards the end of last year and during spring, they're holding the lunch meetings right in our booth, which is great because you have all of the products there. Now, the key is to get them back to the booth, because remember, this is their lunchtime too. So we created this little flyer. It's just I think we get 4 to a 8 by 8.5 by 11 sheets, so it's just small like that. And we are giving you a free 6 by 6 card of this temple picture there, something that they're going to love. And they get one free by coming to the lunch demo. We supply those for you. So this is a little paper flyer. If you're talking to them Friday night, oh, we do a demo at lunchtime, you really want to come. I can show you how easy Studio is to use and what great projects that you can make. And when you come, bring this card back and you'll get one of these 6 by 6. They can mount it on tiles. They're not made into tiles, but they can mount it as tiles or use it as a card. You'll get one of these absolutely free. Thanks for coming back. Now, if you do that, write your name on the back of this card. My name is Candy, and write it down there. I look forward to seeing you there. Okay? So they bring that card back when they come back on Saturday during lunch, and now they're interested in getting an opportunity packet. I'll explain how that works in the back room normally, but if it has Candy's name on it, then she's going to get Candy's packet because she's already made that contact with Candy. Okay? Now, if they come back with a flyer and there's no name on it, or they just come to the lunchtime event, here's how the lunchtime event works. You've got 1 or 2 people at the front of the booth. We provide you with a TV monitor. It's actually a TV. We provide you with a sound system, so you can use either a lav, one of the clip-on wireless mics, or you can use a handheld mic, either one. They were supposed to work together so 2 people can be talking, but I understood that didn't work very well last season. So it's only 1 person unless you can figure out how to get 2 going. You need to bring your own laptop. So we do not provide you with a laptop, but you can hook it into the TV. We give you instructions how to do that. You play a short PowerPoint or a pre-recorded DVD training that shows Studio and how easy it is to get into Studio. If you're going to go live, you need to, one, make sure you test it ahead, because the internet doesn't always work. You have to provide your own internet source for that, but test it ahead, because I've been caught at these events where you just can't get the project to load because the internet's so slow. So make sure that you've tested that ahead or have it preloaded. But I know most people are just using a PowerPoint that Hallie Red put together. It's really good, so you'll get that as well. Okay, so somebody's up front, and sometimes groups will have them rotate because different voices will focus on different things and catch different people. Some just say, hey, why don't you be the spokesperson? I'll back you up on questions, and then we have two people in the back handing out the leads. What they did last year is they kind of filtered the opportunity packets. You know, you have 4 people in it, just so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So after that demonstration, and it's 80 minutes total time, so you're trying to get at least 2, maybe 3 different demonstrations in meetings, but you could do 2 15-minute ones with time in between to talk. However you want. It says scheduled every 20 minutes on the flyer, so you should probably keep it to that, because that's what they'll expect. They'll work around their lunch to do that. So have somebody in the back. They come back with a card. If it has the name on, grab that from the bottom of the pile, not from the top. So say, let's just use Candy, because I use that as an example. I'm at the back of the room, and I've got all my opportunity packets lined up, ready to hand out and give them more information. And Candy's on the top, right? So she's the next person to get a lead. This is actually her lead from someplace else. So it should be separate. You have them on the table or something and hand that out. Then the next person that comes up gets a Candy, that doesn't have any contact, gets a Candy lead. Then she gets a Mary lead. Then she gets a Susan lead. You know, whatever. But just try to make this, you guys work it out. Here's the key. Just be fair with each other. It's not a race, and it's not equal either. Unfortunately, there's no way to say, okay, everybody gets, there was 12 that were sponsored, everybody gets 3. It doesn't work that way. You build that relationship. Sometimes somebody will meet their people there that they're going to sign up, and they build that relationship, and they'll have very low luck on the follow-up, and some will have not very much, you know, not very many sign-ups from the event, but get more sign-ups after. It generally works out. So just keep that in mind, okay? Then what happens is, let me see, lead distribution, we're going to that next. Okay. And you feel free to type in any questions, and shoot, there's a question there, sorry, Yolanda, about the contact cards. Will the contact cards look like this? Yes, they are. The contact cards look just like what I showed you on there, but the slip in the magazine is a little bit different. Let's see, what about new order forms? We are in the process of printing those right now. They're almost finished with design, so we will have new order forms, and we'll also have a opportunity flyer, which I'll show you in just a minute, and so that will help you there. Great. And it looks like nobody's gotten that email to that folder, so we will take care of that. I'll make sure I add that to the list. Okay, lead distribution. You have 2 options. The one that almost all groups, I think I only had 1 group not do this, or 2 groups last year that spring didn't do this, is you can, number 2 is the most one. So let's start with number 1. You can divide up all of the contacts there. Here's the challenge. You've got contacts in your pocket, and what I mean by divide up, those are the ones that are in the drawing for the free product, right? That came from their book. They put it in. They held the drawing. We got our 2 winners. Now you've got a pile of leads there, right, that need to be divided up. In order for you to divide them up between the 4 of you right there, you have to figure out who's in your pocket and take them out, because if I'm Hallie and I've got some in my pocket and then I end up giving those leads that were in the drawing box to Candy, we're both going to be talking to them, right? But Hallie built the relationship. So I don't suggest method 1, but it's completely up to you, okay? Option 2 is that you send the cards back. This isn't our responsibility. You guys need to do that. So if it costs, there's a couple options. One, you can scan them in and send them to us through scan, so there's no mailing cost. Or if it costs $5 to mail it in, you each chip in $1.25 and you're set. Okay, somebody takes responsibility to mail them back. If you select option 2, what we expect is that you will divide them. You take the time at the end of the event and you divide them. I'm going to actually go back to how you want to divide them. So let's go to slide here. Okay, see on this side, the number one way to divide them is by these categories, okay? And a few of them trump because they'll check more than one, obviously. Now, the one that trumps is the home-based business. That's number one. Do not send those back to me. You sort those right there against the leads in your pocket, and then you divide those. Those are hot leads. You need to get on those things Monday morning, so don't send those back to me. Make sure that you're following up and you divide them up right there. If there's 4, everybody gets one as you divide. You'll probably end up with usually about 15 of them by the time you sort them through your pocket. You know, those that you have personally, then you may end up with like 5, 6, you know, something like that. So you'll have to work that out. Okay, the next one would be earning free discounts. That's hosting. So if they've checked free discounts and use my, you know, making fun projects, it goes in the hosting pile. And then after that, I actually don't care. I want you divided in hosting and everything else, because we'll divide everything else is pretty much, you know, the scanning is kind of they'll check more than one thing at that point, okay? So divide them up so that when we do the data entry, that we get those leads out separate, and it's easier for them to do that. So please have them so that we're not paying somebody to put all of the leads the right way. When we get them, they're rubber band together and they're ready to go all straight up. If they don't have an email address or a phone number, we can't do anything with them. If they don't have an email but they have a phone number, that's great. But if they don't have either, we don't need them back, because there's nothing. Well, I can't put them in the system. You can't contact them. So you guys can divide those up if you want to figure out how to do that. You know, contact them, great. But we don't put them in the system without either of that information. If they give us a phone number, we'll put no reply on the email, so you know you can email her, but you can give her a call. Okay. Okay. Let's see. It says if the group is staying together that night, they can work on the leads by making a list of their own contacts to compare. Yes. So what I suggest is Friday night you go in, and if you bring your laptop with you, you can start working on your personal contact list. How that works is you should have already had a Google Doc shared with you. My daughter actually does the data entry for it, and she told me that she's shared that with everyone with the addresses, the email addresses that she has. Please go in and make sure you can open it. Sometimes we'll pull old email addresses or something and you can't make it work. And so then you're at the event and you're trying to get a hold of us on a weekend and harder to get a hold of us, and we can't help you with that. And so you can't get your leads entered. So check the Google Doc now. Probably came from Jenna Muir at life.com. And what happens is you take your personal contacts and you fill it out on this Google Doc. And it's just entering in their first name, their last name, their address, everything that's on the card is in a different column. Please, 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 please use proper, what is it? It's not really grammar, but if it's a name, capitalize the first name, because what is in there, it goes into their account, and it looks. We've actually gotten complaints of who entered this, a kid. So make sure that if it's Patty, it's capital P-A-T-T-I, and then last name and such. Phone numbers, no dashes. We have to clean that out. The system doesn't like dashes. Please don't put any dashes. And do the best you can on reading the cards. Sometimes it's really difficult, and I tell Jenna the same thing. You do the best you can, but sometimes those C's and S's, they look alike. So we actually, when we get the two together, we take yours before we take ours. So make sure that you're doing your best on that. Jenna actually sends you a document with it and gives you instructions of how to enter that. For example, when you're entering the city, if it's West Valley, you can't do W. Valley, you have to do West. So West Valley City is West Valley City. South Dakota isn't S Dakota, it's South Dakota. You have to write it all out. The system's pretty picky. So, okay. And Yolanda is saying she hasn't gotten anything yet. Has anybody gotten from Jenna email? Because I know she did tell me, hey, I got the list from Brindy. Is there an updated list? She sent it out. All right, I'm not getting any responses there. I'm getting a little worried here. Okay, got a couple notes. I will make sure that's taken care of. Dang, sorry about that. Was told that was done. Okay, let's go back to our thing, lead distribution. Okay, this is what the new booth looks like. And it's pretty awesome, and it's a little time consuming to put together, but it's great. Those of you that went to convention were able to see it there. We had it set up so that you could take a look at it. It's a fun booth. This is actually one that you can see down here, this big picture. It's a big frame that it wasn't finished yet, so it was kind of pre-event. But it's a fun booth, and it's brightly colored and some great projects. And look at that beautiful picture in the back. It's very appealing to set up. And then there's two banners on the side. We're actually sending a third banner, and that's the longevity banner, and so I'll talk about that. A couple places that you can put that. You can either replace out one of these, except for the most important part of the longevity banner is down here at the bottom. And so I'm hoping that in some venues you're able to kind of, encroach on free space. They don't put you right next to the other booths because you have a meeting there. They spread you out a little bit. So sometimes, you only have a 10 by 10, you can squeeze it out a little bit and get a little more space, okay? So that's what I'm hoping you can do, or you can even just put that other third banner off to the side, put one of these out in the hallway, be creative. So we'll talk a little bit more about longevity in just a minute. Anyway, these signs up here are to give them, again, ideas that appeal to this group and get them to come over and say, oh, I hadn't thought about that, or oh, this is kind of unique. So that's the booth, and it's great. And again, these are new pop-up displays, so if you haven't put them together, please watch the PowerPoint, the QR code, so you can see them putting them together, because they bite. If you snap them wrong and it lands on your foot, they bite. I know that for sure. Okay, let's go to longevity. Okay, our contract states, as I mentioned, you can only show Heritage Makers projects, our products, and we can only we have to represent ourselves as Heritage Makers. One, because the booklet was printed a while ago, but the QR code we can actually change on our end after the fact. Deseret Book has been very, very particular, and we went through a huge screening process before we were even accepted. The reason is because we are a direct sales company, and they've chosen not to have direct sales companies at the event. However, because of our product, the nature of our product and our business and the screening we went through, they accepted us to come in. That's why they won't let us carry other products. There's like, I don't care if it's good for you, good for me. These are the products that build this group's, health and wellness does too, and they all wear makeup, but they've chosen to limit it here, okay? So we're going to put them in subtle ways. I told you about the banner that it's a really cool banner. I should have put a picture up, but I apologize. Great banner. It'll be in the HM Supply Center. They're putting that in hopefully today, so you can order. I know many of the people that are leaders that are holding events are having that there, because it talks about Heritage Makers, longevity, something about affecting your body and soul, and it has the 3 different Health and Wellness CEO Kit, the Mineral Makeup CEO Kit, and then the Heritage Makers CEO Kit. So great banner. Okay, the other ways I talked about is a flyer, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. You can put the samples in the packets, not on the tables. We can do this until you get your hand slapped, and then I get a call and say, look, you guys can't do that. So while we don't want to be secretive and that looks like we're intentionally doing something wrong. This is a great product, and it's just easy to explain to them. We just merged. We're so excited about this. We'd love to share our other products with you. And you can even have this on, if you're going to put an opportunity packet together, I'd have my idea book on one side, and I'd have this flyer on the other, so I can turn it over and you can see this, and you can show we carry these different product lines, and gives you that opportunity to go into here, okay? And then on the back of this flyer is also an order form, so you can sign them up right there. Now, a lot of times our groups will take a computer and just sign them up. The sign-up process is online right now, so you can go to a computer right then and sign them up. But if that's not the case and they want to just sign up on club, you can also use this for just a club membership and get them signed up. If you can't get them to a computer, this does give you that option to be able to do that. It doesn't give them the terms and agreement, which are usually on the back of our sign-up sheet. However, when they log into their account, they have to click that they accept the terms and agreement. The key is please do not open somebody else's account. We've had that happen before where consultants will go in and they'll just set up a generic password and they'll go in and activate the account. Well, that means you just click the terms and agreement for them. And so that's legally, you're not allowed to do that. Sorry, had to take a drink. Okay, so that's another way that you can show and talk about longevity and the products that are in there. If you think of any other ways that you feel comfortable doing and that aren't going to put it in jeopardy for everyone else, great. You know, just work with your groups and you guys can figure that out. And I'd love for you to share it with me so that I can share it with everyone else. We're trying to figure out how to do this without breaking contracts. So we need to make sure that we honor that and do what they ask there. So not showing product is great. Another thing, heads up, at these events, we cannot sell tangible product at the event. So you can't pre-make canvases or things like that and sell them at the event. You can sign them up for club, you can sign them up for the business opportunity, but you can't hand them a canvas and walk away. So don't get the idea, let's make a bunch of pre-made stuff and be able to sell it there. They don't allow us to do that. All right, that is the end of everything that I have to talk about. Are there any other questions or those? I see several veterans on here. I'll call you Time Out for Women Veterans. Is there anything that I didn't cover that you think I need to cover? All right, I'm getting a no, or well done. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut this recording off. I promise to get you the email from Jenna will go out and the link to that folder by the end of day tomorrow. I've got another call I've got to jump on right now, and so I'll get those out to you right away. All right, thanks everyone for being on the call, and have a great event. Just make the most out of it. You've invested money here, so don't be afraid to talk to people, invite them, and then follow up. Okay, have a great day. Thanks everyone.